welcome you to the Ask Jeff YouTube channel. Here's today's question. It says in Deuteronomy chapter 21, the Bible talks about an unsolved murder. The priests are to take a red heifer and break its neck. Why? Well, as always, anytime we're looking at any biblical story, oftentimes we know the who, the how, the what, the when, the where. It's that why question that oftentimes gets us and just really makes it so perplexing. Well, let us remind ourselves that what we know as not only Leviticus, but Numbers and Deuteronomy, even the latter half of Exodus, are the preparation of the Israelites to go into what we know as the Promised Land. And as they go in the Promised Land, there are very specific rules that God laid out for some very specific reasons. Now, here in Deuteronomy, there's this strange story about an unsolved murder. And the thing that's interesting to me is how distinctly different God's way is of doing things than man's ways. How would man have, quote unquote, solved this? Well, of course, we would have gathered the witnesses, we would have had a trial, we've gone through all these processes. And yet today, how many of us have stories of people we know that are falsely accused, or maybe they were guilty and they were found innocent, all kinds of stories out there. But here in the book of Deuteronomy, as they're going to the Promised Land, the question is, God, what do we do when we don't know what to do? And God established a pattern. Now let's be honest with ourselves. It doesn't make any sense. Why would God do this? Well, because his ways are different than our ways, and his thoughts are different than our thoughts. Why is it that when he communicated with the Israelites, the priest had this ephod with the two stones in the pocket that he communicated therein? Why is it in the book of Numbers that when they were sick, they had to look up at the serpent that was on the stick? There's all these why questions we have, and really, at the end of the day, there's two things I want you to notice. Number one is this: God's ways are not our ways. Number two, when you're reading throughout the Old Testament, understand the Lord has a means, a direction, a purpose. He's getting us from the fall of humanity to the incarnation, to the coming of Jesus Christ. And again, in Deuteronomy 21, we have another in the saga of stories of humanity's inability to figure things out, inability to solve things. They need God to intervene. And when God intervenes in a way that doesn't make sense to us, what does it do? It elevates his wisdom. It elevates his knowledge. It elevates his personhood because we find ourselves so deficient, not just in this area, but in so many of them. Great question. If you have one, send it to askjeff.net. Maybe your question will be tomorrow's. Thanks for being a part of today's daily question. Now, we answer a question each and every day. Please feel free to submit a new question at askjeff.net. We may not have gotten to yours today, but we eventually will continue to be a part of this. Subscribe so you don't miss out on a question every day.